Well, it's Thursday, and you all know what that means. That means we're going to have some full reviews to do today. So, across the Pacific in Japan, we have ChocoPro 318. We have some interesting matches with the return of Emi Sakura, who later on will be having a tag match with her protege and student, Mei Shiruga. And of course, we got Major League Wrestling with Fusion 171. We have a strap match between both Sam Adonis and Mance Warner. A new member for the women's featherweight division for the calling. And we also got Alex Kane in action, taking on Japanese wrestler Shigehiro Irie. And then we move on to Impact Wrestling. As you know, we're building up to, of course, Slammiversary, and many things could happen along the way. And then finally, we have Ring of Honor. We have two proving ground matches for the women's title and the world title. And of course, we got the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team match taking place as well. And then of course, we got a couple of news updates to share what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are putting out, who's being booked, what matches are set, any wrestlers that are injured, any new signees, the whole enchilada. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, welcome everybody. So if you're new to the channel, thank you for subscribing and liking this channel. If you guys have any friends who are interested in hearing reviews of what pro wrestling is all about, or what matches or events are taking place, please tell them and have them subscribe and like. So, let's get started with our very first review. Our first one is in Japan, of course, with ChocoPro number 318. Now, Mei Shiruga and Balanaki made their way back to Japan after they participated this past weekend for Tag Festival. They did not make it all the way to the finals, but they had a great time. But they came back to Japan, but not alone. They even brought in, of course, Emi Sakura, who, as you know, has been living here in the United States for a couple of years, since she's been helping out in AEW a lot. But let's get started with our very first match. Our first match, we have tag team action. Kaori Yoneyama teaming up with Masahiro Takanashi, taking on Sayaka Obihiro and Oso 11. Now, if you guys don't know who this guy is, Oso 11, he's like a bear. So whatever you do, try not to play around with his fish if you can, because the bear is so crazy. So basically, the Kaori Yoneyama knows how dangerous the bear is, so they had to think outside the box. But it was Masahiro Takanashi who used the bear's fish to toss it outside through the window, and he goes chase it like a dog fetching a bone, like a stick. However, that gave Yoneyama the opportunity to apply the Orkana roll, giving him the match. But however, the bear was not happy that they took advantage of him, so he began chasing them down. Our next match is singles action. We have Sayaka taking on Balanaki. I thought this match was pretty good because I have mentioned time and time again how Sayaka has grown so much. You know, I watched her a lot ever since I started watching ChocoPro. She wasn't the best wrestler, but we know she has improved in her wrestling craft. We know she has won matches here and there, but not the bigger matches that she should have. But however, she's taking on Balanaki, who is, of course, who has won big matches and all that. But however, it was like a Kumo roll by Balanaki that picked up the win, giving him the W. Now our main event is, of course, Mei Shiruga Mei Suruga teaming with Emi Sakura to take on Miya Yotsuba and Hagane Shino. Now, keep in mind, Hagane Shino is the current Super Asia champion. However, it doesn't mean that, of course, in this that either Emi or Mei Suruga can pin him and hopefully win. But however, I thought this match was pretty good because we know how much Hagane has changed, and of course, Miya Yotsuba, who's been trained by Mei Suruga, she is the first ever wrestler to not be trained by Emi Sakura, since Emi Sakura has been living in the United States. But she put up a good match. But however, it was of course the Queen's Gambit by Emi Sakura onto Miya Yotsuba to pick up the win. However, uh, she did issue the challenge for the Super Agent Championship against Hagane Shino at the next Got to Move show. But if she does win, there is the possibility she could take that belt with her back to the States, since you guys know she is the current DPW Women's Champion down in with Deadlock Pro Wrestling. So we'll see what happens. However, our Junkin tournament, our winner is none other than Mei Suruga. I think I don't know if she won the last one, but yeah. So Mei Suruga won the Junkin tournament and gets the piece of chocolate. Her opponent she had to go through, I believe it had to be, I forgot who it was. I think it was Mia. I'm not sure, but that's how pretty much took place. And I think that's pretty much it for this. Oh, let's move on with MLW. Okay, MLW Fusion 171. It opened up with a women's featherweight match with Clara Carreras taking on the newest member of the Calling, Mandy Leon. So we did not expect this, but we know Mandy Leon is a very capable wrestler. Story goes that she has been now accepted into the brainwashing of the Calling, and of course, it only took a DDT to put her away, put Clara Carreras away, giving Mandy Leon the win. Now, earlier in the week, we did see the Second Gear Crew having a good time, and they had a little run-in with, of course, the Samoan SWAT team, Juicy and Lance, who are the current MLW World Tag Team Champions. So basically, they said, since we helped you guys out, how about give us a shot of the tag team titles, which they probably will have, and I think that's going to be a good match. Now, recently we have been seeing how Microman has gone attention with many other wrestlers. Apparently, his manager, Saint Laurent, is not very too keen with the idea of Microman being friendly with other people. But, however, Microman is practically having a bit of fun. So, that's pretty much what's been going on. Now, our next match, we have a strap match. Now, if you guys aren't familiarized, you have to get all four corners in order to pick up the win. Now, you probably can guess this was a brutal match from left to right. Of course it was. Of course, Sam Adonis, who's got under the skin of Mance Warner because he feels that Warner has no right to get the spotlight, but that's how it's been rolling up. However, Warner put Adonis through a table, but without realizing that he already had almost all four corners been tapped by him and picking up the win. Of course, Mance Warner refuses to accept that, but you probably can guess that he'll probably get his revenge against them for this insolence. Now, we do get a little interview with Sam. She interviews Delmi Exo, as you know, she is the current and brand new MLW Women's Featherweight Champion. She recently defeated Taya Valkyrie for this belt, but however, Valkyrie attacked her from behind to teach her a lesson and all that. As you know, she's not happy with the fact that she lost, but we all know the purpose of her loss maybe is because she's being full-time with AEW ever since then, so that's the possibilities for that. So we'll see more. But however, on the biggest pay-per-view on July 8th, we will see Delmi Exo will have a, winner take all match. I hope that's the case. She faces the XWXW Women's Champion, Ava Everett. Now, if you guys aren't familiarized with the promotion WXW, it's a German promotion, which means West Side Extreme Wrestling. Many wrestlers have wrestled down in this German promotion. I've seen Bandito, I have seen Akira, many others. Shigehiro Irie has mostly been involved in that too. But yes, so that's what's been going on. Now our features Alex Kane taking on Shigehiro. I thought this match was going to be a blast because these are two big men. But however, Alex Kane has one thing in mind is, of course, is to prove a point that he will defeat Alex Hammerstone to become the brand new MLW World Heavyweight Champion. But he was able to pick up the match, a win, when he applied the mark of Kane, giving him the win. And of course, at the post match, he even got in saying written negative remarks about Hammerstone. Hammerstone wanted to beat his ass up, but apparently he was stopped. So that's what took place in MLW. So we'll see what happens on July 8th. But for right now, let's move on to our next review, and that is Impact Wrestling. Okay, Impact Wrestling. So let's get started on this particular one. It opened up with a rematch or return match from Against All Odds. The X Division title is now been put on the line. Chris Sabin defends it against the former X Division champion Trey Miguel. Now keep in mind, Trey Miguel has been, ever since he became the X Division champion, he's been trying to protect it in any way possible by cutting corners. But Sabin has decided to fulfill a dream, which is becoming the ninth time X Division champion. So he is the one who mostly has been a multiple time champion for the X Division. So you probably would expect that, of course, Chris Sabin will try to defend it as any way possible from Trey Miguel. But however, the match could have won in his favor. Well, it did, due to a disqualification with the return of Zachary Wentz of the Rascals. But of course, Miguel was very, very, very surprised to see his old running buddy, and then of course they decided to beat down on Chris Sabin. But luckily, Alex Shelley shows up to give him the helping hand. And of course, right in the end, the Rascals talk about, of course, Trey Miguel was happy that his brother-in-arms shows up, and of course, Zachary Wentz, who's been out for almost 3 years, is disappointed with the situation with how things have gone with Trey Miguel, feeling that everybody turned their backs on him. So the obvious question does tell, where do we go from here with them? Well, we'll see what happens. Now, before our next match begins, we do see Deonna Purrazzo, who makes her way to the commentary booth. The obvious question is, was she's going to back up or try to, do research on Trinity? However, she did say it was a bit of both. So Trinity it ends up in a match being against Jay Vidal, a guy who's been nothing but a pain in her butt, ever since then. And of course, there was going to be an outside interference from Giselle Shaw and Savannah Evans, no matter what. But it only took a starstruck by Trinity to make that fool tap out. But of course, Evans and Giselle showed up to give her a beatdown, and of course, Deonna Purrazzo showed up. Now, however, because of this, Deonna Purrazzo will defend her and knockouts the title against Giselle Shaw in Australia. So we'll see what happens until then. I'll talk more about that at the end of this episode. Now, we do see Moose in the back talking to Myers, but he did confess he's not big fans of it. So apparently that Moose and Myers are in agreement they should be going after the tag team titles. But however, Moose said loud and clear that he's not a big fan of the Good Hands, Jason Hodge and John Skyler, so they brought that mess to themselves. Now, our next match features the debut or surprise. I don't know if Leo Rush has been in this promotion, but yes, he took on a guy named Jack Price. I mentioned his name before, but I just didn't know who it was. But I thought it was a pretty good match, but it took only the final hour by Leo to pick up the win, so that's a pretty good way to start. Now, the war between Dirty Dango and Santino Marella has rages on. Dirty Dango decided to get under the skin or try to piss off Santino Marella when he talked about his past, about how Jim Cornette slapped him because of this and that. And then, of course, he crossed the line by saying some comments about his daughter. Santino, I know he's not going to take that clearly, but Santino did talk about that he's going to settle this with him. And, of of course, he's not happy for him to speak about his daughter that way. So sooner or later, Dango will get what he has coming. Now, as you know, what happened at Against the Laws between Kazarian and Edwards, so they have to figure some things out. But I'm sure that's how it's going to be between them because they're both been trained by Killer Kowalski. Now, our next match, we have Kylan King along with Tyler Wilde taking on Masha Slamovich. I have to say, this is one of the most brutal matches ever. But however, I figured that this was going to happen because Taylor Wilde is the X factor of the match because she will do anything to make sure this match goes in favor of Kylan King. However, Killer Kelly shows up and choked the living hell out of her. And then, of course, we saw Masha Slamovich was able to defeat Kylan King with the snow plounder or whatever it's called, giving her the win. But of course, it appears that now a new partnership has been formed between Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich. So I would say that the women's division in the Knockouts tag team division should be on notice. So that's going to be interesting to watch. Now, as you know, Scott D'Amore was being asked to take a leave of absence after the result of what happened against All Odds. Many wrestlers who from past and present have often talk about what a great person he is. You know, Scott D'Amore is very happy with everything that's been going on with him, playing a coach. I mean, he did say that he never won the world title, but he became someone who they can look up to, so that's a good thing. However, during the interview, he did admit that he seems a little bit slow on everything, but that doesn't mean he can't stop. However, the Good Hands decided to get even with him because John Skyler got the Canadian Destroyer, so he decided, you know what, I'm going to talk to Santino to put you two in a 2-on-1 match against PCO. So that's going to be great. So that's going to be so funny. Now, our next match, we have Yuya Uemura taking on Kenny King. I thought this match was going to be good, but however, the match ended with, of course, the Royal Flush taking place. But before the match ever started up in the way, Joe Hendry showed up at the production booth or whatever and did something. However, he did show up at the post-match showing a video calling Kenny King stripper Kenny because of his past. So I thought that was really funny. So Kenny King did not take that kindly. So you probably can guess he's going to hunt him down. Now, the last thing we see is Nick Aldis once again going on shenanigans, talking nonsense about Alex Shelley, and Alex Shelley refuses to stay on to this. Even Chris Sabin showed up to give him some backup, but all of a sudden Leo Rush showed up, so it doesn't take a genius what he wants. He wants the X Division title, so we'll be seeing that, what's going to take place down the line. And I think that's pretty much it, what we have for Impact, so it's time for our last review, Ring of Honor. Alright, our final review, Ring of Honor, so let's get started. It opened up with La Facción Ingobernable, consisting of Preston Vance and Realistico, along with that Weasel, Jose, the assistant. They take on Mark Wheeler and Vikram Prashar. You probably can guess this match was going to go with LFAI because it seems like it was a squash match. It was Preston Vance who picked up the win when he put all that power from this Larry to put one of them away, and it was done from there. Our next match, this was a very interesting one. We saw the Righteous, consistent of Vincent and Butch or Dutch. They take on against the members of Dark Order, Reynolds and Silver. I thought this match was pretty good because they brought in a little bit of the violence. We know that they are capable of that, but however, Stu keeps getting himself involved. But the referee did not see the final, trying to get the final involvement until, of course, Vincent put Silver in a inside cradle. But you probably can guess this is far from over between both Dark Order and the Righteous. Now, we do get a little bit of a rematch for this one. Diamante gets his hands on Layla Gray, but the last time this happened between them was because of that dumbass Smart Mark Sterling getting involved. But however, this time he did get involved. He almost got himself choked out, but luckily Diamante was able to pick up the win against what's her name? Oh yeah, Layla, but she applied like a bit of a crossface in order for her to tap out. Now we do get a little interesting with interview with Claudio Castagnoli. So basically, no one was willing to challenge him. So apparently, Chuck Taylor volunteered. So he decided no time limit on this particular match. So that's gonna be rather interesting to see. Now our next match we have Shane Taylor along with the Workhorsemen Anthony Henry and JD Drake taking on the Luchadors, Commander, Hijo de Vikingo, and the Lucha Brothers, Penta and Rey Fenix. I thought this match was insane and great because, as I always often say, I'm a big fan of La Lucha Libre. I grew up watching that as a kid, and I thought it was great. And I thought that there was no way the Luchadors can beat against bigger guys, but they were able to pull it off when, of course, they put the fear factor on Anthony Henry, and Penta was the one who picked up the win. I thought it was great right from there. So we do. Okay, what else? Okay, now Samoa Joe, as you know, talks about his next opponent for the World Television title. However, Stokely Hathaway gets involved. He should not be involved, but he did. So that's what happens. Our next match, we have Tag Team Action League, Moriarty and Big Bill versus Tariq and Karu. Now, I can say this match is definitely a squash match. It was going to go straight to Moriarty and Big Bill until the border C stretch on Karu, played by what's his name? Anthony Lee Moriarty, was going to be the final blow from there. Next up, we got a women's world. The ROH World 6-man tag team titles. We had LIJ's Bushi, Hiromu, and Shingo Takagi taking on the Embassy, Bishop Khan, Teo Leona, and Brian Cage. I thought this match was great. I love it. I mean, LIJ is one of those teams that I enjoy watching, even if they're in Ring of Honor. So that kind of sets it up. It's great to see them. But however, it was the Embassy when they Khan pinned Bushi to retain the title. So there's that. But however, the United Kingdom, consisting of TJP, Jeff Cobb, and Kyle Fletcher, issued a challenge for those titles. So we'll see what happens till then. Now, our next match is Desperado versus Willie Mack. I thought this match was also great. I love Despi. He's one of the best wrestlers. I didn't even notice from the time that he was putting on weight. Looks more like he's now making the jump to heavyweight from junior heavyweight. I thought it was great. I mean, he put up a good match, but it took only 4 attempts for him to apply the Pinchy Loco, which he did. And of course, Willie Mack showed him some respect, and I thought it was great. Hopefully he does come back. I think many fans will love to see that. Our next match, we have the House of Torture, Yujiro Takahashi and Sho taking on Roppongi Vice, Trent Beretta, and Rocky Romero. Now, you know that this type of match with the House of Torture, they like to cut corners, but it was, of course, the standing 0 on Yujiro by the team was able to pick up the win. And, of course, the beatdown by the House of Torture showed up at the end. But luckily, their best friend, Orange Cassidy, showed up to make up the save. Now, our next match, we have the United Empire, Kyle Fletcher, TJP, and Jeff Cobb taking on Christopher Daniels, Action Andretti, and Darius Martin. I thought this match was pretty good. I think it was really fun. However, this became an upset until Andretti pinned, who was it he pinned? TJP. I thought it was great. But what does this mean for them? Because, as you know, they declared their next challenge against, who was it? Their next challenge against the ROH 6-man tag team champions, the Mogul Embassy, actually. Now, our next and final interview, we have, of course, Jerry Lynn with the Kingdom. As you know, they're trying to find ways this goes around, but however, not even Jerry Lynn was able to, budge. So basically, the Kingdom are on their own. So it's going to be, of course, the Infantry, Sean Dean, Carly Bravo, and Trish Adora taking on Mike Bennett, Trent, Matt Taven, and of course, Maria. So that's gonna be great to see. Now, our next match is the ROH Women's World Title in a proving ground match. Athena versus KC Spillane. You probably can guess this match went into Athena's favor because she picked up the win when she applied the her submission, and then once again, here we go, total disrespect for opponents. But luckily, what's her name? Well, basically that's how it goes. She ends it when she leaves her line. Now our main event's another proving ground for the ROH World Title. We have Chuck Taylor versus Claudio. This match once again went back into Claudio showing his dominance. That says it all. But that's pretty much it what we have for this particular one. So let's move on with some news updates. Alright, welcome to our news update. So this is what we have. Reports are coming in about Tiffany Stratton. As you know, she made this comment about she credits her boyfriend for boosting her career, and the boyfriend, it turned out to be Imperium's Ludwig Kaiser. Honestly, I did not see that one coming, but not much about information, but I did not know they were in a relationship, so that's kind of interesting. So congratulations on your relationship, guys. Now, as you know, Wrestling Revolver will be making their way to Texas on July 8th for the Texas Toast. We're going to have Keith Lee, who's also a fellow native of Texas, so that's going to be fun to watch. Saki Akai has announced for her 10th anniversary show. Before she retires, she will be in this match. This event will take place on Korakuen Hall on the 15th of September. She will be teaming with Asuka and Maya Yuhiki to take on Takumi Iroha, Rina Yamashita, and X. Now, we don't know who it is, but however, a clue was left behind, and it turned out that this particular person debuted as both Kai, Iroha, and Rina Yamashita. So that's going to be a long list to figure it out. Some interesting developments. New Japan Pro Wrestling has announced that the Rhea 3 Musketeers era. So we have Shota Umino, Shooter, Ren Narita, the son of Strong Style, and then of course Yoda Tsuji. So that's going to be interesting right there to hear. So I think that's pretty much it for now. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody just enjoyed this episode. Coming up, Impact Wrestling Down Under tour in Australia. Can't wait to see how this goes down. And of course, we have AEW Rampage and then NXT Level Up. So I'm looking forward to Friday. So we'll see what happens until then. So for now, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.